Well, the breaking news of this evening is Friday at 10 p.m. That is when the judge in the newest prosecution of Donald Trump will convene the first hearing in that case. Yesterday, federal judge Tanya Chutkan asked the lawyers in the case to agree on two possible dates and times that they would all be available. Both sides would be available for a hearing this week. Jack Smith's team of prosecutors made it very easy on the judge, saying they would all be available at any time, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And then Donald Trump's lawyers replied that they would not be available on Thursday because one of them has to appear in the case against Donald Trump in Florida on Thursday. The Trump lawyers then asked the judge to schedule the hearing for Monday or Tuesday of next week. And at 5:24 p.m. this evening, the judge issued an order saying the court hereby scheduled a hearing on the parties' respective protective order proposals in this matter on August 11th, which is Friday, at 10 a.m. The primary business of that hearing is to consider what Donald Trump and his lawyers will be allowed to say publicly about the evidence in the case that will be handed over to them by Jack Smith and his team of prosecutors. This is a standard issue to be dealt with in cases like this that include grand jury testimony, which both sides have already agreed cannot be made public by Donald Trump and his lawyers. But Donald Trump is pretending that Jack Smith is trying to take away his First Amendment rights. We'll be joined tonight by a panel of legal experts, Neil Katyal, Gwen Keyes-Fleming, and Bradley Moss, who will consider the Trump defense arguments. Also joining us tonight, as I just said, will be Harvard Law professor Lawrence Tribe to respond to some of what Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyer has been saying and to respond to reporting in the New York Times tonight about that memo. In a moment, we'll show you some video of Donald Trump speaking in New Hampshire today, claiming that Jack Smith's motion for a protective order on the evidence in the case is an attempt to take away Donald Trump's First Amendment rights. Donald Trump does not tell the crowd that his criminal defense attorneys have already agreed to most of the restrictions that Jack Smith's protective order is asking for. So that would mean, according to Donald Trump, that his criminal defense lawyers are also trying to take away his First Amendment rights.
The thug prosecutor, this deranged guy, to file a court order taking away my First Amendment rights so that I can't speak. So listen to this. So in other words, I'll be the only politician in American history not allowed to speak because of our corrupt system.
Leading off our discussion tonight, Neil Katyal, former acting U.S. Solicitor General and host of the podcast Courtside with Neil Katyal. Gwen Keyes-Fleming, a former district attorney in DeKalb County, Georgia. And Bradley Moss, a national security attorney who represents people working in the defense community. Neil Katyal, Donald Trump's First Amendment rights. Is Jack Smith trying to take away his First Amendment rights?
Well, Trump is right. He is the first politician, or at least the first president, to be accused of several serious federal felonies, now with two different indictments. The idea that this has to do with his First Amendment rights is bogus through and through. And I think Jack Smith debunked it in a filing earlier this week before Judge Chutkan. What he said is, look, I'm not trying to undermine your First Amendment rights. You're allowed to speak and so on. But there's a difference between speaking and intimidating witnesses. And Trump was warned about this, Lawrence, at his arraignment in an extraordinary moment last week with the judge. The judge said, look, you can't go and try and influence jurors and things like that. He said he understood. And then within 24 hours, here he is threatening, basically, intimidating witnesses from Mike Pence and saying, if you come after me, I'll come after you, to the whole world and so on. This is not the way any other criminal trial could operate. And if you let this defendant get away with it, then every other defendant can get away with it. There's no First Amendment right here. Trump is right that it is his speech, it's his social media post and what he says about Pence. It is verbalized through speech, but it is impermissible every day of every week because intimidation of witnesses often occurs through speech, and yet it's punishable and separately protective orders and other things are used. So what the government is seeking here, the special counsel, is absolutely reasonable. I think Trump's arguments are going nowhere, and instead of spending all this time sending tweets and chatting with the press, I think his lawyer should spend some time, formulating a decent argument.